The past is something that can be very painful. Many of us may have trauma even in our past, two extremes in dealing with difficult or painful pasts. On the other hand, you have the people who tell you to put a bandage on it, just suck it up and get over it. It could be worse. These kind of terrible things, people say that they are not helpful, right? And sometimes even cultures kind of push this type of put your happy face on type of attitude, right? Numb it, just appear happy and everything will be okay. And this is a little bit of getting a gunshot wound and we are putting a bandage on it. So you can't say time will heal the wound if you didn't address the wound. Does that make sense? And so there is that side of the extreme where wounds are not being addressed. They cannot heal if they are not addressed. So part of healing is addressing the wound itself. And now how do you address it? Well, it depends upon the situation. Sometimes it involves getting professional help. It cannot be ignored and you expect it's gonna go away, because again, a bandage on gunshot wound, it doesn't make it go. In fact, it's gonna be infected, and in fact that infection can lead to an amputation. And so emotionally, it's the same thing with wounds. We have to address them, we have to heal them, we have to treat them, and then time can heal them. Does that make sense? But then there is another extreme, that is what we will call pricking the scalp. Yeah, that's that when something is trying to heal, but what happens is sometimes we get stuck in it. We can also get stuck in our past. That is another unhealthy pattern where a person is not able to move forward because of this being stuck in the past. And again, that's something that's the part of addressing it. It's that one can address it and can move on. We need to be more compassionate with ourselves. We are so hard on ourselves, and this negative self-talk there is within our community, and actually women in general and men as well. We have a lot of very, very negative self-talk. We beat ourselves up to an extent that if we ever spoke to anyone else in the way we speak to ourselves, we would basically sabotage our relationships in order to keeping our hearts healthy, just like keeping body healthy. We have to be mindful of what we are taking intake. Now, sometimes we do this to ourselves spiritually and psychologically by the kind of things we surround ourselves with, all right? When we surround ourselves with a lot of negativity, when we surround ourselves with things that are not healthy for us. For example, there are things on social media that aren't necessarily healthy. Psychologically, they are not healthy. Spiritually, a little bit of like of sipping poison. So keeping your environment healthy as much as you can, that's a huge part of being healthy internally. Just like you are not gonna have poison in fridge, then you expect that you are going to be healthy. That's something you are taking in. So being mindful of what you are listening to, being mindful of the type of talk, not just self-talk, about what's coming out of your mouth, what kind of conversation are you having. Just be mindful of all these things. This is all intake into your heart. So be mindful of that. your news feed on social media, whatever type of social media that is. Think of that like your fridge. Okay, you open up your fridge, that's what you are gonna eat that day. And that's something with your news feed, that what you are gonna eat that day, what you are gonna take, that what you are gonna eat spiritually and psychologically. Does that make sense? Because everything you read, everything you are exposed to, it's like it's intake, and that's all goes into the heart, that affects you. So try to make it more healthy.